Alrighty guys, that time has come. It is noon on Friday. Good Friday to everybody. I'm Dr. Sandy Meese, a chiropractor from Georgetown and proud to be chair of TCA's Next Gen DC's committee. Next Gen was created a few years ago to serve the next generation of Texas chiropractors, providing education, mentoring, networking, and resources to chiropractic students and DCs in the first 5 years of practice. Today, we're proud to host our second Next Gen DC's webinar of 2023. The topic is the art of branding, and in a few minutes, I'll introduce our featured presenter, Dr. Jesse Jacobs. Just a few quick announcements. Next Gen has hosted two Next Gen DC socials in Dallas and Austin this past spring, and we have had a fabulous turnout. Our next one will take place on Friday, May 26th at 6:30 p.m. at Miss Carousel in Houston. Registration for this event is now open, so we invite Texas Chiropractic college students and new DCs to attend. A reminder that Chiro Texpo 2023, which is next month, TCA's annual state convention, is coming up June 23rd through 25th at the Renaissance Dallas, Addison. Chiro Texpo is going to be epic this year with new features like Texas Women's Chiropractic Day, the Adjust Lab featuring hands-on workshops, and incredible speakers. Next Gen will have a big presence there, and we will have a session on paying down your student debt with Student Loan Tutor, a career fair for those looking for associate roles or trying to buy practices. Sorry, my screen just kind of went blank. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry, guys. We have discounted pricing for new DCs, and cost is only $25 for students. Early registration ends today, so don't wait up to sign. If you're not a TCA member, what are you waiting for? Membership is free for students and deeply discounted for DCs in years 1 through 3. May is TCA membership month, so it's the perfect time to join. Reach out to the TCA office or join on the TCA website. Now it's my honor to introduce our speaker, Dr. Jesse Jacobs. Dr. Jacobs is a local product of North Texas, growing up in Flower Mound, attending the University of North Texas for undergraduate studies, and finishing up his doctorate at Parker University. Dr. Jacobs has opened 5 chiropractic offices since graduating from Parker in 2012. Freeform Chiropractic has 4 locations in the DFW area, and they're growing. Dr. Jacobs is extremely proud of his leadership team that surrounds him, the company cultural they exemplify, and the lives changed through the care in the Freeform offices. The mission of Freeform is to help people live free. Through this mission, Dr. Jacobs and his team focus on connecting the community, having pride in what they stand for, and taking extreme ownership in their actions. Today's webinar is being sponsored by Chiro Secure and will be recorded. Feel free to share the content with your fellow students and colleagues. If you have any questions during the webinar at all for Dr. Jacobs, please type it in the chat box below and we will answer it at the end of the webinar. All right, Dr. Jacobs, thank you so much for joining us, and it is all yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mays.
You're very welcome.
All right, welcome. Again, I'm Dr. Jesse Jacobs. Ladies and gentlemen, with every single interaction, you are making someone feel something, or you are transferring energy back to yourself, and you're feeling something through those interactions. When you're watching something, it's making you feel something. When you look, every interaction that you have with a person, with a patient, with another doctor, you are transferring energy, and that is making you turn a feeling into an emotion. And really, when we get into the art of branding, we must look at your brand personally and professionally as an emotion. What emotion are you trying to drive into those patients or into that person? So we're going to take a deep dive into this. I'm going to try to keep it very concise. You got to drive them to the emotion that you are really looking for. So let's think about some of your favorite brands. Okay, so what are they making you feel, and how are they making you feel that? When you walk into a Ritz-Carlton, that Ritz-Carlton is going to give you a beverage, a sparkling water, a water that's infused with some sort of citrus. You're going to drink that. You're sensing this emotion and feeling something through this experience. They're going to talk to you a certain way. You're going to see certain people there. Their customer service is at a top-notch level, and they're making you feel important, right? That's one brand. Like if I love Lululemon, I love the way it makes me feel. I love how it fits on my body. I feel more confident when I walk into a Lululemon. There's a certain smell, there's a certain feel and visuals. And, if you understand what I'm getting to, what emotion are you driving? Because that is what people are going to feel when they sense your personal brand as well as your professional brand. So let's go back into, so what are when someone walks into your chiropractic office or your medical office, what are they feeling? Are they smelling incense? Are they smelling some sort of essential oil? What kind of music is going on in your office? This is all a culmination of your brand. You are driving an emotion through the senses. So they're smelling something, they're hearing something, they might be tasting something, a drink, they're visualizing and seeing if there's dirt on the ground. These tell everything about your brand. So yes, I'm Dr. Jesse Jacobs. As Dr. May said, we have 5 chiropractic offices. They all have a branding behind it. It is Freeform Chiropractic. This is not a plug for my offices. I also have my personal brand. I have multiple other companies, but the branding is so important. So let's dive into it. You all have a brand. You might not be aware of it, but right now you already have a brand. You must take control of the narrative, because everything that you post on social media, every interaction that you have with another person, this is developing your personal brand. Every conversation that you have about your brand, about your chiropractic group, about your personal relationships, you are making those people feel something. And then what you really want to drive them into is, who are you? What do you stand for? What is your brand? So why is branding so important? Well, number one, there was a huge study done by one of the top branding companies in America, and they did this through the US Census. So they looked at the US Census and they asked these people, the Americans, what are they looking for? And what it came down to was 74% of Americans are more likely to trust someone like their doctor with a personal brand. And to dive even deeper, the number one profession that these census surveyors said that was most important to have a personal brand was doctors. The second was attorneys and lawyers. So the personal branding is a digitization of your reputation. You must think about this 20, 30 years ago. If you were trying to put a brand out there, a company or a personal brand, there was a magazine. In that magazine, you opened it and there was an article or an ad. And that ad was a still picture, and it showed a person or a company and maybe a wave behind it. Or if it was a cologne commercial, if it was a, whatever it might have, whatever ad it was, you had one picture to convey what that brand stood for. Nowadays, you have social media, you have short videos, long videos, you have clips, reels, you got stills, you got all these different things, websites, personal touch, coaching. All of these things will contribute to your brand. And if someone's wanting to use your brand, they are going to look deep into social media. Right now, whenever I'm trying to hire someone, I look at their resume quickly, but what do you think I do? I go to social media. What does this person stand for? What are they saying on their social media? Are they politicizing stuff? Are they complaining? Are they acting like the victim? Are they hardworking? You can see quite a bit from your personal brand, which, by the way, you've probably been developing for the last 5 to 10 years on Facebook and Instagram. So this is also going to make you rethink what you have posted and what your personal brand has been showing to the public. I want you to write this down. The goal is to find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Now, as a chiropractor, I know what we do. We are here to serve. We're here to change lives. We're here to make an impact. And that is one of our uniqueness in terms of our profession. So how do you exploit it in the service of others? And how do you let people know who you are and what you stand for through your digitization of reputation? So this is a huge one, y'all. No one wants to be catfished. That is why people think so much of a personal brand now, because you don't know what you're getting out there. And so they want to do some more research and they want to find out who you are. I want you to look at your personal brand as well as your professional brand, your company, as a product on the shelf. So if there was a store, a chiropractic store or a health and wellness store, and you walked in and you saw Dr. Kevin Smith Chiropractic, Freeform Chiropractic, the Joint Chiropractic, these were all on a shelf and you were walking in to look. What product are you going to pick? And if you look at yourself as a product on the shelf, you will find your why. What is going to differentiate you from the competitors? Are you a made in America product or service? Are you a cost-effective service? Are you a high-end boutique service? Who are you trying to serve? And we can kind of work backwards and deconstruct this. So 3 questions you must identify for your personal or professional brand. You've heard me say personal and professional. I'm just going to start saying brand because they're one and the same. And I'll get into that on another slide here in a few minutes. But these 3 questions will apply to both personal and professional. So number 1, what was I put on this earth to do? I will tell you a confession. This was about 3 to 4 years ago, not long ago. I told my wife, Emily, we have 4 beautiful children, very busy. I just had this revelation telling her, I go, babe, I don't know if I was put on this earth to be a chiropractor. I just don't feel like I'm fully fulfilling my purpose. And she asked, what is your purpose? And I said, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. And over the last 2 or 3 years with COVID, I have found my purpose. And my personal purpose is to change chiropractors' lives, is to help them, is to help them find the dream life, is to help scale their practices and grow their practices, whether that means they want to be in the office full time and lead their office, or if they want to grow it to a certain number of $1 million or more, or maybe they want to move into CEO function and they want to completely be hands off and they just want to teach everybody in their office and how to become leaders. So that is what I was put on this earth to do. But what is your purpose? What is your higher purpose? You are making someone feel something, right? So what are you trying to, when they consume your content or your product or your service, what are you trying to get them to feel? You also got to understand that they're watching and listening to everything that you're saying. So you must find your stickiness. Stickiness is a term for the very, very good brands. Lululemon has a stickiness. Apple has a stickiness. Travis Matthews has a stickiness. How do you create a stickiness? And that's purely based on what was I put on this earth to do? Number 2, what do I stand for? This is a huge one, and it's all about your heart. This is all about your heart set. You got mindset, you got heart set, and then you got handset. Your handset being present, where are you? Your mindset, obviously, what's your mindset? Then heart set is, what do you stand for? What breaks your heart? What are you not okay with? When COVID happened and businesses were shut down and I saw chiropractors shutting down and they weren't serving their communities, that broke my heart. That is what allowed me to find my purpose in those very trying times. So this is your reason. You are meant to stop whatever breaks your heart and not just chase the dollars. You won't experience burnout when you are really working for what you stand for. And also, what are your core values? If none of you as students or young docs or even experienced doctors watching this, what do you stand for? What are your 10 commandments? What are short statements that you can really get your whole entire team and company behind? So in my office, we have 10 core values. And those are the principles and the standards that we live by in our freeform offices, as well as personally. So these are like, stay humble, always be learning, lead by example, freedom, connecting the community. So what do you stand for that you can start to distinguish yourself from other people? And then lastly, number 3, how can I help people? What does your service or product provide to people? And what does that service or product make them feel? How does the problem that people have, how is it solved by the product or service you provide? And then also, who can you serve? So these are a lot of questions. And what I highly recommend you do is you write these 3 questions down and you take some time writing these out on paper and then giving it an hour or 2 or a day or 2, coming back to them. I'm not expecting you to completely, find your purpose in a day, a week, or even a year. I'm going to be straight up with you, being candid. It took me 7 years in practice and having a multi-million-dollar practice before I really found my purpose. So a few things to avoid here when you're going through this process. Don't copy others, okay? You're not being authentic. A key component to your personal and professional brand is that you must be you. You must be authentically you. Nobody can be you. So don't copy who you see on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and try to model that, because that is not you, and it's never going to resonate with people who are consuming your content or your product or service. Also, fear or desire to appeal to everybody. When you're talking about what you stand for, when you're talking about how can I help people, you start to worry about what other people think. You got to get that out of your head, because what other people think is not how you think. And that is why you are going to be unique and effective, because you are you and nobody can copy that. So who is your market ideal consumer? Think about it this way, and this is a huge component. Who were you 3 or 5 years ago? Who were you prior to chiropractic? If you got exposed to chiropractic a certain way, which a lot of us either have had a miracle story or have been affected in a dramatic way, in a good way from chiropractic care, remember who you were then and how can you market to those people. Those are your ideal customers or consumers of your personal and professional brand. And so you don't really know who you are as a young chiro yet. You haven't really found yourself. You haven't really started in practice. So start brainstorming those things. And who do you really want to market towards? Are you trying to market towards athletes? Are you trying to market towards celebrities? Are you trying to market towards someone who maybe can't afford chiropractic care usually? Are you trying to market towards medical doctors and DOs in an allopathic, more integrated model, right? So these are things to be thinking about. A huge mistake that I see most people do is they put the buggy in front of the horse. And what I mean by that is the buggy is your personal brand, and then the horse is your professional brand. And they put their personal brand before their professional brand. Really, these are one and the same. But you must build something before you can really drive the personal brand. Like if you look out there and you see a lot of people posting in front of a Lamborghini, in front of a mansion, but you don't realize that that Lamborghini is rented for the day and the house behind them isn't even theirs, right? So like on social media, there's a lot of tricks and a lot of things happening that it's this posing, it's posers, it's people who they haven't built anything, but they're trying to put everything on them. So they're trying to coach people how to build a business that they've never built. So you got to be authentic, and I don't think you should put your personal brand first. I think you should build something, and as you're building something, you document that journey, and that will start to show people who you are. No business experience equals no authority in your industry, which equals no one's buying in. So let me say that again. When you have no business experience, that equals no authority, and that equals no one buying into your content. So again, being a young doc or being a student, I wish I knew this 10 years ago, because I could have been documenting my journey and what I did over the last 10 years to grow it to 5 offices. These are like the $30,000 millionaires, right? The people who drive the really nice cars, but they can't afford them. You don't need to care about what other people think here. You just got to document your journey, and you got to make sure you're doing something real. Okay. I know how it is when you first start, and it's very, very hard. You just got to find your place. You got to find your rhythm. You're not the authority. You're usually an associate doc for someone. The cool thing is that when you're working for someone else and you're learning the systems and you're not reinventing the wheel, you can just document what you're doing inside that system. So you don't really have to try to produce or create content. You just show yourself at a health talk, show yourself adjusting a patient. You show yourself at a screening on a pier in Seal Beach, California, where I did my screenings at 7 a.m. with nothing but fishermen selling hooks and fish around me. And I'm the only chiropractor in this fish market. And I signed up patients in that. If I could go back in time and record my screenings, I would have incredible content that people can start to see how I've developed my skills. So the key thing here is to make sure you're putting priority on whatever company that you're building or whatever brand. If you see here on the left side of your screen, Freeform Chiropractic, that is our franchise. Then I have a coaching group called the Vitalis Movement. Then I have my J, which is my Dr. Jesse Jacobs brand. And we also have the Chiro Startup, which is a seminar series for students that we call the Underground series. So these are all things, and I have different priorities in which ones I tackle first. And they all culminate to me, though. They're all one. They're all encompassing. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys, is that you need to make sure you're blending these together all as one. So some things that you need to know. You got to know KLT. That's know, like, trust. People buy from people they know, like, or trust. And if you have all three of them, that's really good. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, #1 actor, the most popular person on planet Earth. If he went out and posted something about an energy drink, people know, like, and trust The Rock. Even though some of his political views I might not agree with, I really like that guy. I've seen him. I've seen his personal brand. I've seen his journey. He seems like an incredible dude, a role model. He would sell, right? One of my mentors just posted about cold plunges. When he posted about cold plunges on his podcast, which is the #1 podcast for business in the world, the cold plunge sales for that company tripled in one day, because people know, like, and trust him, right? So that's what I want you to get across is don't be saying one thing and doing another. What are you going to sell? Like, if you're a chiropractor and you are creating a brand, are you start with the end in mind? Are you looking at selling this practice eventually? Are you going to name it Jacobs Chiropractic? That is a lot harder to sell, right? So chiropractors are it's a very popular thing for chiropractors to name the chiropractic office after themselves. The problem is they're not really thinking about the brand. They're thinking about themselves when they do that. Also, look at personal branding and professional branding. This is free game. You got to build your reputation and your name, right? This is free game. It doesn't cost anything on social media to be posting stuff. It's very, very minimal to create a brand, a logo. This is the time to build your reputation. There is a flip side to this, though, because if you get really popular, then people see you, they notice you. They'll get more familiar with your kids if you have children, so there is a flip side to that. You don't have as much privacy. And then, unfortunately, I didn't learn a lot of this until 7-8 years after graduating. So me teaching you this is going to give you a huge leg up. And then lastly, don't appear to be, just actually do it, right? Don't be disingenuous or inauthentic. Like, actually do what you're saying. Don't fake it. Don't sit here saying things that are not true, posting stuff from 5 years ago, making it seem like it's today. Just be authentically you. I can't say that enough, because look at what some companies are doing right now with their brand, like Anheuser-Busch. I'm not at all getting into politics or what I believe, but they just did something that really tore their brand down. They dropped their stock price significantly. And what I'm getting to is, you don't want to politicize your brand. You want to stand for something, but you don't want to bring politics or religion. One of my huge core 4 values is faith, but that faith is in God, it's in innate intelligence, it's in the vitalistic model of chiropractic. But I don't bring in red or white. I don't bring in black or white. Everybody is a human to me, and I'm not going to bring religion or politics into my brand, because again, it's going to be more polarizing. Now, there are companies that do that and they've done it well, so I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But when you start up, you got to be very careful with bringing in socio-political views, just because we are here for an escape. We're trying to make someone feel something. They want to escape all of the distractions and the noise that they hear in the real world. So lastly, guys, this is a huge one. Do less teaching and more documenting. What you see here on the right-hand side is my little baby Keanu. He's 2.5 years old. He's on my one wheel. And that right there is one of my best friends, Uncle Bacon. His name is Nathan, but the kids don't know how to say his name when they were little. My 2 older ones, I got 4 kids. So my 2 older ones thought it was Uncle Bacon, and instead of it was Uncle Nathan. So he's called Uncle Bacon. And Uncle Bacon is riding the one wheel with my boy. Now, I will tell you, this is one of my highest producing reels on my personal page. The curated, professional, the ones I've spent money on. I've done a health talk and I've recorded it with a mic and a great camera and all these angles, and then we got someone to edit it. Those are my least performing videos. This that I just pulled out my phone because there's a really cute, funny picture in my front yard that we're doing construction on right now. This got like 2,500 views within the first week, right? So I want you to understand that it's not all producing content and showing an adjustment and what this means, and C1 shifted right, pressure on the base of the spinal cord and causing headaches. No, guys, people are looking at personal brands because they want to escape. You want to document your journey rather than constantly being teaching. But how do you do this? So focus on how your life is different. No one is you. No one's going through what you're going through right now, but people can also resonate with that in certain forms. So what you should document: your family, your faith, your fun, your struggle, your customers, your fitness, your pets, your frustration, joys of laughter, experiences with laughter and experiences with pain. When you do that, you're being authentically you, but you're also resonating with someone who's dealing with that too. So they can really attribute to what you're doing and they can connect with you through social media. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing, where less teaching, more documenting, just do what you do. Guys, I told you I was going to keep it pretty concise. We were right at about the 30-minute mark. We could get into branding heavy. We can talk about where to brand, how to brand. This is the basis. This is what you need to start with. What is your purpose? What do you stand for? Who are you trying to attract to your business or to your personal brand? One thing that we are not taught in chiropractic school is the business side, is the branding side, is the communication side. So as a next gen, as part of the next gen committee and a next gen doc, that is what me and Dr. Mees and Jeff Jenkins, that's what we're trying to achieve here, is teach you things that you're not going to learn in school, because they are meant to get you the diploma on the wall. We are here to help and mentor you into the real world and make sure you're successful. One of the things that we do at no cost, my personal brand, is the underground seminars. So if you want to scan this QR code, it's just an interest form. Whenever we have an underground seminar, usually in Dallas, Fort Worth, we'll send you an email and tell you about it. And we do different topics. We'll do communication on chiropractic, business 101. We'll talk about the hero's journey and the freedom model. And we go over all the things that you need to be successful in this real world as a chiropractor. And we do it at no cost because, again, this is really important. You are most powerfully positioned to serve your former self. And my former self was a young doc with no mentor. And so I want to serve as that mentor for you guys. And I know Dr. Meese as well. And I do that through our underground seminars. So scan this, fill out that interest form, then we'll tell you when that comes. And then also, I'm going to bring Dr. Mays back on, but the Chiro Texpo is June 23rd and 24th. We have a lot of next gen stuff going on there. I'm going to be part of a roundtable with 3 or 4 other doctors where we're going to answer any questions that you may have about business, about chiropractic, about life. So make it to that. That's going to be an incredible seminar right here in our backyard. I appreciate you guys. I hope you learned something from the 30 minutes that we spent on branding. And if you have any questions, throw them out there in the chat or on the text box.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse, so much for this awesome branding webinar for these students and new docs that are coming out. So if any of you have any questions, like Dr. Jacobs said, please put them in the Q&A box so we can get those answered for you. While we are waiting for those to come in, I have a couple questions for you, Dr. Jacobs. You were talking about uniqueness. When someone gets their uniqueness and before they actually start branding, do you recommend them understanding where they want their location to be at and what population that they are serving? Is that a very important key?
Absolutely. I think your uniqueness needs to come first. I think when you find your uniqueness and you find exactly the demographic you want to serve, the type of patient you want to serve, the area you want to serve, now you can start dialing in location and demographics. So I would just attribute this to like the Freeform brand. We have a certain demographic. We have a certain median household income we're looking for. We have certain things that we're looking for close to us in proximity, other businesses, other companies, corporate America. So the build out, location, and that whole process, we could do 10 different, webinars on that, right? But the first step is, who are you wanting to treat and how are you different? Once you find that, then you can start to dial in. Yeah, you're not going to be a sports chiropractor and be in a town of less than 1,000 and expect to really hone in your skills and become, someone strong in that field, right? You want to be close to a college or a high school or a professional sports team, right? So there's a lot of nuances to that question, but I think you find your uniqueness first, then we can start to dive into more of the demographics and location.
Okay. And then as a new doc coming out of school, you have the student debt that you have to pay back, and then starting your own business, if that's what you're going to do. What is a good strategic way of budgeting for branding?
Yeah, so branding is not expensive. People make it out to like pay a lot of money for this crazy design and paying someone to create content for them. I feel like the best companies and the best chiropractic offices do this organically over time. A budget for that is going to be hard to say. What I would recommend, if you're wanting to open up your own office eventually, whether it's right out of school or 2 or 3 years after you graduate and you have some, skills under your tool belt first, I would deposit an auto payment into a separate account for the business. And I would make that automatic that you don't see, whether it's $20, $150, $500, every paycheck or every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you automate that into a separate account that you don't see. And what that does is it just grows, and that'll be your budget for your opening, which will include your, logos and all that stuff. But like, I don't recommend you focus on a logo and branding until you're probably about 6 to 12 months from opening your practice, because it's going to change. My office started as Jacobs Spine and Sport, to Fort Worth Spine and Sport, to Alliance Chiropractic, to, right, it changed over the course, and it wasn't until probably about 2 or 3 months before I opened that I actually created my name and my branding.
Okay, so you would recommend starting with one brand first to get that foundation, and then spread your wings off from that, correct?
Yes, just create your brand. Dr. Sammy Meese is your brand. Start with that, and then you can build from there. And then once you find that one brand, your office, that's the one brand I would focus on.
Okay, awesome. And then probably the most important question, with you being a TCA member, how has it helped you build your brand in your practice?
Oh yeah, well, I'm around like-minded people, right? So one of the things as someone who has a brand, and I didn't even talk about this in this webinar, you are wanting to collaborate with other people that resonate and share the same core values as you. So when I'm with TCA members who share the same value, they want our profession to be better. There's doctors like you, Sammy, who are in here who are wanting to help other students. We connect, and when we connect, we support each other's brand, right? So just from a branding perspective, being part of TCA has helped me. Now, also, I love being part of TCA because we're doing something in a bigger picture. We're doing something that's bigger than Dr. Jacobs or Dr. Mays or anything that we're trying to help our profession. So I think being part of something bigger, the rising tide raises all boats. That's the type of style I have in philosophy. So being part of the TCA has helped me dramatically in that way.
Okay. And when you're having trouble getting your brand, who would you reach out to? Would that be within our community or TCA community?
Yeah, if you have trouble with your brand, you can always contact me. And if you just want to contact, I believe I can send out my email on this. You actually just scan this thing right here on the Chiro Startup, and I'll get a hold of you. If you have any questions, you can contact me. I would also give you a specific contact if you want a full build out. If you want a full build out for your brand, I have someone that I could send you to, and they could walk you through this whole process. That is a little bit more labor intensive, and it is a little bit more costly. The branding space can get very expensive if you try to go all in on it. I just don't think you need that until you build a company behind you first.
Okay, awesome. If you guys have any other questions, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A box. Dr. Jacobs, thank you so much for this fantastic information. Thank you for spending the time with us today and educating our students and new DCs. Like I said earlier today, this webinar is sponsored by Chiro Secure, and we have Stuart Hoffman on with us. So if Stuart, if you would like to say a few words, please go ahead and jump on, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me on today. And as most of you may already know, I am a supporter of this organization through Chiro Secure. And Chiro Secure is one of the largest vendors in the chiropractic space. We're right behind NCMIC in terms of malpractice world, but I like to consider ourselves the most proactive company that's out there. And I mean that because I look at trends. Being a chiropractor, I really appreciated what Dr. Jacobs just shared with everybody. And, it's some of the things he was talking about. I actually teach in our risk management courses, like don't go on social media and talk about religion or about politics, because we live in a 50-50 society. The minute you say something, which you should just keep to yourself anyway, the minute you put it out there, you automatically alienate 50% of your patients and or prospective patients. So he was so spot on in terms of branding, but we do the same kind of model. We are branded because our mission is to change the public perception of chiropractic. And we do that by making sure our doctors have the most comprehensive coverage you can buy in our marketplace. And that's what I mean by me keeping up with the trends of what's coming, not just what is. And others keep trying to follow and incorporate some of our coverages into their current policies. But we do that also by educating our doctors. So if you think about the one thing that most chiropractors are concerned about in terms of malpractice, it certainly is the publicity behind the stroke issue. And I'm proud of the fact that we go to court and we fight and we win. The attorney that we have working with us is the worldwide expert on strokes and chiropractic, and he becomes co-counsel to every single stroke claim that we have. And he has never, ever lost in court. So not saying we don't settle claims like everybody else, but I like to fight and I like to uphold your reputation, but also the reputation of chiropractic as a whole. So I hope that you'll return that attitude and support us at ChiroSecure. At the very least, give us an opportunity to see if what we offer in terms of coverage is more comprehensive for you, is less expensive for you, and we want to continue to support you and your organization. You can simply go to chirosecure.com. It's very easy. On the top, if you're not already with us, click on Quick Quote. And it's just a few questions. It's not going to give us much information, but one of my team will follow up with you and be able to give you a comprehensive comparison so that you can make your own informed decisions. And last but not least, we're on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. We do a lot of programs just like this. And I want to get Jesse on one of those because he was awesome. And we try and make sure that the chiropractic community as a whole is really represented in a positive light so that we can all go forward in a great, productive way. So I want to thank you for having me today, and I'll look forward to continuing on. And any questions, you can always get through to me through the website, chirosecure.com as well. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stuart. And thank you, ChiroSecure, for helping us with this webinar. Once again, thank you, Dr. Jacobs, for your fantastic webinar and your knowledge and all the information that you give in today. Some other quick reminders, guys. Sign up for our Next Gen DC Social in Houston. It's just a few short weeks ahead on May 26th. You can go ahead on the TCA website and register today. An email will be sent out shortly later today for more information regarding that. Also, plan to join us at Chiro Texpo June 23rd through 25th in Dallas. Take advantage of the early bird pricing today and reserve your hotel room at the Renaissance Dallas. Once again, Dr. Jacobs will be at our Next Gen roundtable on Friday. You don't want to miss it. If you have any more questions, want to know more information, he will be there. He is your guy. Once again, if you're not a TCA member, please join today. We are an awesome community and we help support each other. Other than that, you guys have a great weekend and hope to see you at Texpo. Have a great one. Bye-bye.